Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Folks, you know it's the most beautiful thing about Donald Trump as a political figure? Well, it's like I've said a million different times before. It's not about Donald Trump anymore. It never really was about Donald Trump. And even the Don 45 himself has always known that. The left has always miscategorized the so-called Trump movement or the America First movement as a cult of personality. That it's some sort of cult that creates shrines in their bedroom of this orange man, praying for a big, beautiful wall and strong economic policies, but it's complete bogus. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. I mean, just basic reality. Donald Trump's 80 years old. He's not going to be here forever. And I think the left-wing media is starting to come to a moment of realization that actually Donald Trump, who's been perceived as the biggest threat to the media establishment, and of course by direct connection the Democrat establishment, is really just the start, the tip of the iceberg, the seed, so to speak, or probably a better metaphor, the man who threw the seeds into the breeze, and now there's a massive forest of America First candidates and new charismatic, absolutely savage figures that are growing and blossoming and creating a nightmare scenario for the Democrat establishment and especially the media. Folks, Ron DeSantis we know is the future, but there's somebody else coming up that we've covered before, Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake, who is on an absolute tear. The media and even the neocon establishment, Mitch McConnell, Mike Pence, Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, those types, are trying very hard to shut down. And there's been a lot of phony push poll data lately suggesting that she doesn't stand a chance. She's extreme, viewed as a Trump puppet. But I'm here to tell you that I'm pretty sure it's all bogus, and we have some other data suggesting that Kari Lake, come November, is about to become a serious thorn in the mainstream media's side. And like I'm saying, folks, this is just the start. This is what Donald Trump created, and it's absolutely magnificent. Let me show you guys what's going on, a little bit of polling analysis here, and just talking about this incredible political movement that started. Gotta give him credit, it's Donald Trump's political movement that's gone global. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so the establishment panic is in full swing. Trump and Pence wade into fierce Arizona primary battle. Mike Pence, trying to flex his non-existent political muscle, is going on an endorsement spree, trying to endorse as many candidates that are challenging Trump-backed candidates as possible. And the media frames the situation as fierce Arizona primary battle. We keep seeing all of these bogus push polls, where the end result, or what Democrat political analysts are telling us, is that Donald Trump candidates are viewed as extreme. Kari Lake is losing to Katie Hobbs by 10 or more points, and even Republicans don't want her. That's what they keep telling you. But the reality is very different, and it's actually kind of like a microcosm of the 2016 Trump election victory. We're seeing the exact same signs. For instance, here's Kari Lake at Trump's Arizona rally. She is becoming an absolute superstar. She's had so many epic takedowns, I mean one after another, and you know leftoids are getting real scared. When I posted a video that actually had a montage, a bunch of highlights of Kari Lake moments, where she goes absolutely savage mode, and take a look at the video that I posted after it went viral, nearly 900,000 views on its way to 1 million, YouTube got in the way and age restricted the video. Now we could probably file an appeal and blah blah blah, you get it. Honestly, I don't even care, I'm pretty sure I just put it on private or something, but the point is, the mainstream effort to shut down Kari Lake is in full swing. We've covered a bunch of different headlines. We've covered all kinds of different polls. But once again, it's nothing but coping left-wingers who are trying to convince themselves that Kari Lake isn't on a path towards victory. Let me tell you guys very simply, despite some of the polling data that we keep seeing Democrats promote, I'm pretty sure Kari Lake is going to win big. And it's all about the data, but not all the data, specific data. You know, if you're going to make a prediction for a general election or for a midterm, you know, probably something that you shouldn't do is use left-wing bias polling data that has an absolutely abysmal track record when it comes to accurately predicting the results. You should probably use good sources from people who are usually accurate. Here's Rich Barris, the People's Pundit, a polling expert who is very rarely wrong. The initial article of this headline, Trump and Pence wade into fierce Arizona primary battle. Well, is it really fierce? Not really. Rich Barris writes, okay, I'm allowed to talk about it now. Kari Lake, 43%, has opened up a solid lead over Karen for Arizona, 28.8%. Lake leads among those most likely to vote, most enthusiastic about voting, in Maricopa, Pima County, and remaining combined counties. Kari Lake is not just winning, she's winning by double digits, and that's not counting undecided. I have a feeling that what we're going to see this election cycle is undecided voters splitting for Republican candidates, especially in a state like Arizona. And we just got this poll right over here, new Arizona poll by CD Media and at Big Data Poll, specifically for the Arizona gubernatorial election. They're suggesting that Kari Lake is leading by 1 percentage point above Katie Hobbs, with more than 20% undecided. Here's the kicker. Kari Lake is supposedly winning with independents by 10 points, double-digit lead, and leading with suburban voters by 7. That suggests a split in independent voters, which you could make a connection with undecided voters, people who are in the middle and not exactly sure. It's very likely that polling data is severely understating Kari Lake's lead in the state of Arizona. And I think this is just baseline everywhere. Fox News just came out with their House forecast, and they're projecting a House majority of 225 seats for the Republicans, 180 seats for Democrats, and 30 plus toss-ups. Well, my prediction is that a lot of those toss-ups are going to toss all the way to the right, as far away from the Democrat Party as possible. And folks, I say this because once again, looking at the right polling data, you can take a look at 2022 generic congressional vote, and all Democrats do is ignore everything here and look specifically at these 3 polls. But then if you look at the big picture and you look away from these absolutely bogus, historically inaccurate polling firms, especially Politico/Morning Consult, and you look at Rasmussen and Trafalgar, which have both been incredibly accurate sources that don't underestimate Republican leads, they're showing plus 10 and plus 8. And it makes sense with the current political environment that we're seeing. Well, I think we're going to see the same thing all over the place. Not only do I think Kari Lake is going to absolutely dominate her Republican primary opponent backed by Mike Pence, I think she's also going to dominate Democrat hack Katie Hobbs. And I don't think it's just going to be in the state of Arizona. We're seeing incredible shifts. Here's a great example. Nevada voter registration report, Democrats 607,000, Republicans 556,000, Independents 528,000, net difference since 2020, GOP plus 36,000 registered voters. That's 2,400 more than Biden's Nevada 2020 margin. So in the currently Democrat state of Nevada, we're seeing a voter registration net gain for the GOP of 36,000 voters. And we're seeing nearly 100,000 more registered independent voters. And of course, we know that independents right now are shifting towards the Republican Party. What this signals to me is that Democrats clearly underestimate how bad of a political beating they are most likely going to receive in the midterms in 2022. Of course, it's all speculative, but that's how I'm currently interpreting the data. And where Democrats were hoping that things were going to shift towards their side, considering some of the cultural issues recently, well, we're actually seeing it shift further and further towards Republicans. Rasmussen and Trafalgar both showing some of the biggest leads they've shown in months for the Republican Party. And now we have this new Georgia poll from Signal, which is of course a Republican internal poll, but still, those tend to be a whole lot more accurate than Morning Consult and all of these other bogus firms. We're now seeing a possible +5 lead for Brian Kemp, not counting undecided voters. I think people are underestimating Republicans. Democrats are incredibly confident right now that Raphael Warnock is going to beat Herschel Walker. I mean, the Democrats have infused millions upon millions of dollars into his campaign. Herschel Walker is running less ads, he's got less money. I think the latest number that I saw, I don't know them off the top of my head, but it was something like Herschel Walker's campaign has $3.8 million, I believe, in cash, while Raphael and Warnock had 15 million or more. Polls are currently showing that Herschel Walker is losing, but I just have this feeling that Herschel Walker is either going to win or he's going to seriously overperform what the polls are telling us. And I think we're going to see this across the board, and I think Democrats are going to be seriously shocked as this new era of America First candidates start to seriously threaten the political establishment and status quo. I mean, just in the short term, could you imagine this new political landscape? People like Ron DeSantis, Kari Lake, Herschel Walker, and even Governor Glenn Youngkin in the state of Virginia. It really may be, as Dr. Steve Turley calls it, a new conservative age. And no wonder we're seeing so many bogus polls and bogus narratives, so much coping and so much fear-mongering coming from the clearly full-on panic, desperate left. Now, I don't want to be too overly optimistic, but this is just my interpretation of the data. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm going to get back to work. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.